absolute pleasure to be here at Penfolds with you, Peter Gago, Chief Winemaker, and Steve Lena, Senior Red Winemaker here at Penfolds as well. We're here at the launch of the 2006 Grange, which must be really exciting.
It is. We've waited a while. You know, these things are up to 5 years in bottle pre-release, and the 2006 is a particularly good vintage.
Oh, why do you say that? What sort of exciting characteristics can you describe
Well,
about
I
this?
think it's the last of the 2006 wines to come out. It's the final one, and for those who have followed Penfolds for the last few years, they've had the bin 389s, the 707s, now the big one arrives, Grange, the last one to be released. So, yeah, we're pretty happy with 2006 as a vintage. The wine is, you know, very much Grange. This particular one, 2% Cabernet.
Right.
So all Granges, of course, having varying amounts of Cabernet.
Yeah.
And, the vineyards that went into it, predominantly Barossa. But Steve, here we are at McGill, and there's a little bit of McGill as well.
Yeah, there were some outstanding parcels from the vineyard here at McGill, and there is a small proportion of Shiraz in there from the original vineyard here.
As well. And how would you describe it compared to other wines you've been involved in? Are you just as excited as every other vintage?
Yeah, all the 2006 Penfolds wines which have been released have been fantastic wines.
Yep.
It was a great vintage for Penfolds, and the 2006 Grange is a great example of a very good Grange.
Now, I've heard about the pattern of the sixes here at Penfolds. You know, we had the 66, the 76, the 86, the 96. Does 2006 make it into that pattern as well?
Well, I guess time will tell. Earlier indicators, of course, this hasn't really even been seen by the press yet, but yes, that pattern is a very strong pattern. 76 Grange, the 25th anniversary Grange, one of the strongest Granges ever released.
Yes.
Some commentators, 100 points. We thought that was pretty good. The 86 came around. Lots of commentators, 99, 100 points.
Right.
2006, following 96, I think they're going to be quite close. And the 96 Grange is one of my favourite wines out of the 90s. You know, 1990 gets all the accolades, 91, 98, but I personally prefer 96. So if it's of that ilk, that's not a bad accolade.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing how it develops. But every Grange goes through a process. It's not just the vintage itself. It's not just the fruit. There's a maturation process involved. What happened this time around?
Well, pretty much, you know, we say we don't make these wines to formula or whatever. They're made to stylistic templates. But the regimen here at McGill and under Steve's control at Neurooptpa, there's a fairly consistent procedure to maturation and racking. And Steve, I don't think really in 2006 the racking regime varied too much.
No, it was pretty much, it was such a great year, and the Penfolds, really the template has been set. So the wines are made very much, certainly in the mould that they used to be made, and they have been made for many, many years.
It's a pretty big responsibility, though, isn't it, for both of you?
Well, it's a big responsibility for Mother Nature, I think. They're the ones, you know, the gods, the weather gods are the ones who have to, provide that fruit, the raw ingredient that goes into it. And we can sort of have some management over the process, but we referred before to the raw material, and it's very much the grape and the quality of it in a given year.
Right.
And the vagaries of climate and such like that determines one great vintage or one lesser vintage from another. So if we get good fruit, then it's up to us to facilitate that conversion and, to that template as referred to earlier.
And it's not just company fruit. There's some fantastic growers' fruit going into the 2006 Grange as well.
Because you pick the best fruit from wherever, don't you?
The very best of the very best, yeah. And the selection process is done quite honestly.
Yes.
Keeping all the emotional and financial biases out. You know, these things come in bottles that are coded.
Yep.
We don't know the vineyard, we don't know the volume, we don't know the variety. So the growers that go into that, Steve, in a year like 06 might not be as good or the same growers as in, say, another great year like 04.
It is indeed the best of the best.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that vintages differ and therefore cellaring potential differs. What do you think the cellaring potential is for the 06 Grange? Can you
go first,
Can you
Steve.
share it with us?
Yeah, it's certainly a great Grange in the making. You could certainly drink it upon release. It's certainly balanced, really rich and concentrated. But lay that down for another 15, 20, 25 years, you're going to have a really complex wine.
And to qualify that, to hit the plateau, you know, how long it will hold the plateau thereafter might be 50 years or 60
Yes.
years, but the better Granges get to a half century without much effort.
So if I was being married this year, I could keep this for the 25-year wedding anniversary or even the 50-year wedding anniversary.
Sort of
certainly
anniversary,
could.
certainly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I've heard of I suppose, the outstanding hat trick of Granges recently. Is this the third?
Oh, again, it's always hard to call. I think we'll make that call probably in 20 years' time looking backwards, but we're exceedingly impressed with 04, as were people around the planet. 06, we have yet to show to people around the world, and we have no scores on this wine yet,
Yes.
you know. So it's really very much for other people to endorse. We'll step back and we'll be experts 20 years from now.
Terrific. Well, I'm looking forward to trying it whenever, whether it's now or in 20 years' time.
Terrific.
Yeah, terrific.